Welcome back to Beyond the Hashtag, the official TikTok Shop UK podcast series. I'm Aidan Gilbert from TikTok Shop UK, and if you're new here, we uncover stories of success, innovation, entrepreneurship in the world of TikTok Shop. So, if you're a small business owner, out on your own, or just someone with an idea that needs an extra bit of inspiration, this podcast is for you. Today, we're thrilled to have Ciara from BPerfect, an award-winning Irish-founded beauty brand that prides itself in creating versatile, easy-to-use, and cruelty-free products that change the way we see beauty. Ciara, welcome to Beyond the Hashtag.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, I want to jump right in here. So you have got over $200,000 in GMV in the last 30 days, 1.4 million products sold on TikTok Shop UK, and currently over 400,000 followers and 6.7 million likes on TikTok combined. That is quite the achievement. So let's dive in and see how you got here. So firstly, tell us about yourself, who you are, and what is your role at BPerfect Cosmetics.
So I'm Ciara, and my role at BPerfect is the social media and content manager. I started with BPerfect about 6 years ago as a marketing assistant, and I've ended up here somehow.
Fabulous. Worked your way up.
Worked my way up.
And what did BPerfect look like when you started 6 years ago?
Oh my God, it was completely different. We were in a box room office. There was probably like 5 of us in the whole company. And we had probably I think whenever I started, we had 5 to 10 products, which consisted mostly of tan and maybe like 1 or 2 palettes. And now we have, I don't even know how many SKUs we have now. It's unbelievable, but hundreds.
Yeah. And so what did those early days look like for you there? Was it really hands-on, or was it sort of a learning experience?
It was a bit of both. I was the only one whenever I started looking after the social media. Well, there was me and Mihal, who was on the podcast a few weeks ago. He originally started out with BPerfect as a placement student. So whenever I joined, I was a marketing assistant, and we were both kind of learning together. And then he went back to uni, so it was just me left with the social media. And at the time, it was only the picture app. So it wasn't too bad at the time, but we were still growing a lot. And when I started, we were quite small. We were well known in Ireland, but not really the UK. So it's definitely changed a lot.
Fab. Okay, so you really came in when it's funny to think 6 years ago, like the social media branding side was very much an entirely different animal than what it is today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like the changes and the growth that we've went through in the last 6 years has been insane. I can remember whenever TikTok first came about, we jumped on it straight away, and it was actually my little sister who was, what age was she at the time? She was maybe like 6 at the time, and she was teaching me how to use TikTok because it was seen as like a kids app, and there wasn't really many brands on it. So she kind of taught me how to use TikTok, and then it just grew legs from there.
Absolutely. That's always the way it goes, isn't it? You always are getting outflanked by the next new thing coming along. So for those in our audience who might not know yet, give us a rundown on how BPerfect Cosmetics started.
So we always keep Brendan going about this story because he tells this story everywhere he goes. It's an amazing story, of course, but we know it off by heart now. So Brendan, our CEO, is basically from a small little village in Northern Ireland, Newcastle. And is it Newcastle? No, it is Newcastle. I said I know it off by heart, but he started with £500. And he went to trade shows and kind of started bulk buying makeup and came up with the name BPerfect and stuck it on a load of products. I think it was eyebrow kits that he started with, which were like eyebrow stencils. I don't know if you remember those from years ago. And he bought a table from B&Q and went to the local shopping centre and kind of set it up, displayed his products with his mum, and that's where he basically started. So now he's grown BPerfect from a small country village with £500 and a pop-up table from B&Q to the worldwide success that it is now.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he has done it all by himself, so he's had no financial help whatsoever.
Wow.
So he's literally grown it from the ground up.
That's amazing. That is like truly the entrepreneurial spirit right there.
It is. He's so inspirational, and I think everyone who works for him as well really gets that like motivation, and everyone really looks up to him because he really did start from nothing. So yeah.
Fab. So obviously we have this amazing entrepreneurial story from your CEO. And I guess that kind of spirit is probably what is behind a lot of the product development and the success of the brand itself. What would you say on top of that kind of spirit is also really helping BPerfect stand out in what is a very competitive industry?
Yeah, I would definitely say that Brendan is very heavily involved in all aspects of the business. So from MPD, marketing, sales, we have our own mega stores as well. So he definitely is the spearhead for a lot of what we do, and he's always championed everyone who joins the team and who is really excelling at their job. And if I have an idea that I think is a bit crazy, and I'll say like, oh, there's no way he'll let me do this, like he does.
Wow.
If you really believe in your ideas, like there's no stopping you. And he's very much a champion of all of his staff.
Amazing. So he really lets you guys take your own inspiration and run with it.
Exactly. A part of my role is organizing all of the campaigns. So me and my team come up with campaign concept right through to execution. So literally any ideas that we have, he just lets us do it because he trusts us and believes in us. So
that's stunning.
Yeah,
that's absolutely perfect.
I love it.
BPerfect.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, what is the story behind the name BPerfect? Is there a specific inspiration?
I don't really think it's that deep. I've asked Brendan this before, and basically he loved perfect, and then the B comes from Brendan and Belfast, he said.
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't know if there was a whole lot of thought behind it, but it works.
Yeah, like it's the job done. Absolutely. Brendan Perfect Cosmetics. I like it. Behind every successful brand is a journey. Before BPerfect became a household name for professional beauty brands on TikTok Shop, there was a story waiting to be told. Let's rewind and uncover what life looked like before TikTok Shop. What would you say were some of the biggest challenges the brand faced the first year of launching?
I don't really know if there was much of a struggle because we were quite successful in our early days. Brendan was one of the first, if not the first, brand to collaborate with a local influencer.
Oh.
So there's maybe some people that are watching this that remember this, but the LMD palette, she was a big local influencer back at home, and Brendan created a palette with her, and it completely blew up. It went crazy. We have our products in like pharmacies and stuff. So pharmacies would be quite big in Ireland. That's where a lot of people go to get their makeup or their tan, because they're everywhere. They're in like little villages, they're in big cities. So we're everywhere in pharmacy in Ireland. And those pharmacies could not keep the palette on the shelves. They were taking waiting lists themselves. They were pre-selling the palette. It was honestly crazy. So I think maybe from that, maybe it was supply and demand that was probably the biggest challenge that was the biggest challenge that he faced at the time. Was to be able to keep up with the demand, because I don't think anybody knew how crazy that was going to go. And at the time, I was actually doing my placement year for a local pharmacy in their marketing department. And I was going through I was planning the launch in the pharmacies for the LMD palette, so I'd seen firsthand how crazy it went.
Wow, that is such like a sliding doors moment as well.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Amazing. Well, that is truly a viral product moment as well. That is so impressive.
Yeah, so I think that just kind of proves that we were one of the first brands to go like viral before
Absolutely.
it was really a thing.
Absolutely. Had that scrappy determination to sort of make it happen.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So was there ever a moment where you questioned if the sort of the success of the brand would continue pulling you guys forward, or have you always just sort of seen that the dream works?
I think we kind of came to a crossroads a few years ago. it was kind of that transition between, because we were always known as like a palette brand, you know, crazy eye looks. We had the Carnival collection back then, which was absolutely massive, and it was like very like 2016 vibes, makeup, colorful, cut creases, like full bait. And then there was kind of like a shift in the industry where people weren't really doing that anymore. It was like clean girl aesthetic.
Yeah.
No one was wearing eyeshadow anymore. Like lashes weren't a thing, and that's what we were as a brand. So I think as a brand we had to adapt to the changing trends
Yeah.
on socials. Otherwise we weren't gonna stay afloat.
Yeah.
So luckily we have an amazing MBD team that we're already working on like complexion products. You know, we
Nice.
wanted to dominate the market. Like I can always remember whenever I first started, Brendan's always said that he wanted to have a full face of BPerfect Cosmetics one day.
Oh, yeah.
So that was his goal, and that was always something that we were striving towards. So it just so happened at the same time that shift in the industry from the full glam, we were already working on things in the background. So
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, that's the way to do it, isn't always kind of be moving, be developing, so that you're prepared for when the industry does pivot away from like a full glam look.
You definitely need to be ahead of the game.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Wow, well, that's very impressive. So then what was your slash BPerfect's relationship with social media before TikTok? Sounds like you had that early collaboration with your influencer that really set a fire underneath everyone. Were you early adopters to TikTok, or would you say you guys were a little bit more cautious?
I think every brand was kind of cautious at the beginning.
Yeah.
But we were very much a brand that would jump on things very quickly. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there were a few other platforms before TikTok that we tried that kind of fizzled out, which it happens. So I think with TikTok, we created the account as soon as it was launched, just so we had the name. And we just kind of watched from the sidelines for a few weeks. And then during COVID, like it really took off. So that's when we really started to take it seriously. And at the time we were just kind of testing the water, trying to figure out what would work for us. And then whenever, I think it was maybe like 6 months or whenever things started to go back to normal during 2020, we actually hired, it was still only me looking after the social media. So that was Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok as well. And whenever we started to go back into the office and work from there, I kind of stressed. Like I was like, look, I can't do this all by myself. I need help. So we actually employed somebody specifically to work on our TikTok.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So we were able to put a lot more effort into that. And then shortly after, TikTok Shop came.
Oh, wow. So you already had that ball rolling, and then TikTok Shop shows around and you're like, great, we've already got someone who's had their hand on this.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And then going back to that influencer collaboration, I assume all kinds of like affiliate collabs are a big part of the business plan for you guys and marketing.
Yeah, I mean, they used to be absolutely huge because I feel like we built our brand off influencers and social media. So having those collaborations with those well-known people, we started off smaller in Northern Ireland to kind of build our brand there. And then we were lucky enough to get a collaboration with Stacey Marie, who's a makeup artist based in the UK. And she was very much those makeup artists you see online that are creating all the amazing, colourful glam looks, not necessarily looks that people are wearing out on the street
Every day, yeah.
People practicing their makeup in their bedroom. So and it was just the right time. We hit the jackpot with that. And
amazing.
We've had quite a few collaborations since then. Probably one of our most recent success stories is Ekin-Su, which our Radiant Glow has went viral on TikTok Shop. But I think now that we've kind of established our name, we're not doing as many collaborations anymore. They're kind of few and far between. We do have some collaborations coming up, but they're definitely not as much as what they used to be.
Well, would you say to maybe anyone we have listening who maybe is running a smaller brand or is trying to sort of branch out into the world of creative collaborations, what have you seen as challenges that can come up and how to face them?
I think something that we've been through as a brand ourselves is in the early days when we maybe weren't too sure on what we should be looking for in a person, we were focusing on numbers, so like followers. But that is definitely not the way to go. So if you're a smaller brand and you're looking for the right creator, you need to make sure that you do your your due diligence on them. You need to ask for their insights, watch them for a few months, see how they interact with their audience, look at their engagement, make sure that they're the right fit and personality for your brand, because if you pick the wrong person, it could be detrimental to your business. So just make sure you do your background checks and just double check that they're the right person for you.
So you say you've kind of started to pare back on the influencer collaborations. Is that part of the brand's own decision to try and focus maybe on your own messaging, or how are you staying consistent with that, with your own brand's messaging while still using influencers?
I think we're just being a bit more selective with who we offer these things to, because like I said before, we've definitely made mistakes with picking the wrong people. So that's something that we've had to learn and grow from. So rather than kind of Brendan, it's so funny, we keep Brendan going that every time we have like an event with influencers, Brendan offers at least 5 people a collaboration.
And you're like
we kind of keep them going about that. But we're definitely just a wee bit more selective with who we offer that to. Affiliates and like influencers are still a core part of our brand, like 100%. We wouldn't be where we are without them. We just work with them a wee bit more differently. We have because we're so big now, we have so much more to offer than just a product collaboration. Like we offer higher commissions, we offer them collab boxes, you know, like they get to create their own brand box with all of our products in it. So there's just different ways to work with them now. And then there is a few special ones obviously that we build those relationships with over the years. They work really, really well for us. We all are very, very close with them that we do have those collaborations with. So there definitely still is collaborations, but there's also other opportunities that we're offering too.
Absolutely. And I can imagine back in the early days, there were kind of no rule. I remember I used to work in social media marketing as well, and there were kind of no rules on how you activated an influencer, or even if you then, let's say you wanted to reach out to someone who was who had suddenly had a big viral moment and wasn't really even set up yet to be receiving amounts of money for activations and stuff like that. So I assume now that kind of this is a norm in the industry, it's probably all streamlined a little bit more for you guys.
It is, yeah, definitely. I think back then I feel like it was a lot easier to get, those big people they were a lot more reachable back then, but now the market is so saturated. There's so many brands that are clawing to get collabs with certain influencers that you kind of really have to fight for it now if you really want it. So yes, it's a lot more streamlined, but I feel like it is a lot more difficult as well.
You can't just sort of roll into their DM anymore.
Exactly, you have to find the right contacts.
Yeah, and then they're like, talk to my agent.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. So you were referencing, had you been going to university and studying marketing, or?
Yeah, so I studied marketing in Liverpool, John Moores University.
Wow, nice. And so then you decided to start taking some placement with BPerfect as sort of work experience?
No, so I was in my second year. No, sorry, I was in my where was I? My final year of uni. I had done a placement year in a pharmacy back home before that.
Right.
So I think it was before my graduation, so I hadn't done my final exams yet. And Mihal, who is now the marketing manager of Voodoo's, was doing his placement year, so he was a year behind me in university, was doing his placement year at BPerfect Cosmetics. So Brendan knew who I was through Mihal, knew I was studying marketing, and I did like a little bit of my own social media on the side as well.
Yeah.
And then one day, like, Brendan sent me a DM on Instagram and was like, I want you to come work for me, like, and I was like, okay.
Amazing.
So he actually flew me home to go into his office to meet with him and the marketing manager at the time, just to have like a conversation. And I remember the interview, so well, I didn't think it was an interview, but we'll say an interview for those purposes. But I remember it so clearly. He set a pen. he set a pen down in front of me and was like, sell me this pen. I was like, oh my God.
Isn't that the bit from
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall
He
Street?
definitely got that from a film.
Yeah.
So I did it, and then he basically offered me the job. So I finished out
Wow.
my uni and then moved home. And it was a real big conflict for me because I always said throughout uni, like, I'm not moving home.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a taste of what city life is like. So that's me. I'm staying in England forever. And then it was kind of an offer I couldn't refuse. He was saying all the right things. He was like, you'll have so much responsibility, so much opportunities, like you'll be able to travel, and
Yeah.
he kept his word. He wasn't lying. So
Hey,
best decision I ever made.
sounds great. Yeah. Better the W know, you know?
I know.
So after Brendan's success on Dragon's Den, the launching on QVC and collaborating with viral makeup artists, what made BPerfect decide to start selling on TikTok Shop?
I think Brendan, when TikTok Shop came around, we actually got approached directly by them. So we were, I think, within the first 3 brands to be on the platform, because they had seen like our success
Yeah.
outside of that. So they actually approached us directly. We had those early conversations with them. We were definitely skeptical at the beginning, but there was a lot of subsidies that they were offering at the time that we couldn't really refuse. It was it was a no-brainer for us. There wasn't a whole lot of risk involved, monetary risk. So, and Brendan is all about taking small calculated risks, and this was one of them. And yeah, it definitely paid off. I think we understood the potential because of our success on other platforms, and we kind of understood the structure as well. We were afraid that it would take away from our online sales because we had a lot of success there and it was quite strong there, but it was the complete opposite.
Supplemented it.
It
Yeah.
did, yeah. It
Amazing.
complemented it.
Absolutely. And then how long did it take before you guys started to see any real traction or sales through the platform, would you say?
I honestly remember it being pretty instant. TikTok Shop were able to offer us a really amazing subsidy. So we were able to pick one product where they were able to offer us like a £5 coupon, I think it was, off that product. So we were able to do, and there was no shipping fees, there was no platform fees at the time. So we were able to do our Chroma Cover foundation, which we had just launched at the time, really cheap. So we were able to do that at £3. And that is what really took us to the next level. It just completely exploded. And now I think we've sold over 200,000 units on that foundation since then. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Amazing. Wow. And you were saying earlier that you guys were a little bit skeptical initially about the platform. What do you think that was was that just because it was a brand new thing?
I think it was just the fear of the unknown. I think as a brand of the size that we were at the time, it was really quite new, and we didn't want to we didn't want to do anything wrong. And because TikTok as a platform is so strong and it does have such a huge potential for virality, we were just a wee bit scared. But I'm so glad that we took the chance, because as being one of the first brands on the platform, so we were just a bit scared initially, because we knew how easy things could blow up on TikTok.
Sure.
Huge potential for virality, so we just didn't want to do anything wrong. We didn't want to misstep. But the guys at TikTok Shop at the time were really reassuring, and really it was a no-brainer. So we just had to dive straight in.
Amazing. And then look at the success you've had.
Yeah, no. Looking back now, I'm so glad that we took that risk.
Yeah.
Because it really paid off being one of those first brands on the platform, because we got in there before everyone else.
Sure.
Now it is so easy to put products on TikTok Shop and sell them, but being a big trusted brand on there really, really helps.
For sure. So you guys generated over $200,000 in sales in just the last 30 days. What do you think were the biggest contributions to that success?
basically our strategy for TikTok Shop, and it has been for the past few months, and it's really worked, is we pick a product of the month that we really heavily discount. We increase commission for creators for a certain amount of time, and we do like mass gifting. And in the last 30 days, we picked actually a collaboration product that we have.
Nice.
And Anna Olivia Primer, she's a big influencer in the north, or in Ireland and altogether, to be honest. And we discounted that to, I think it was £9 or something, and it just went massive. It completely blew up. Everyone was on it because her name is so recognizable, and it just sold so well.
Wow.
All of the creators jumped on it, so that definitely helped our revenue. We also launched exclusively on TikTok a new tanning product as well. So that is something that I think we've sold. Have we sold like nearly 20,000 units of that? So it's been a massive success. It's been a massive success as well, and it's a steady seller as well. So it's constant,
Amazing.
yeah.
That's quite impressive, because I don't think people realize there's such a multi-pronged approach to the variables you can play with, because you're not only kind of priming the product for your affiliate market by looking at the gifting and the commission rate, you're then also finding a way to augment the price to then interest it to your customer base, and then you're essentially setting that going and waiting for the algorithm to pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need to find that sweet spot for the price for your consumer. That'll make them want to try that product and get their hands on it. Like, you don't want them to think about their purchase. So it needs to be a really strong price. And then for your affiliates to get them on board, you need to incentivize them as well.
Sure.
So a higher commission or a free product, a free gifting. And then once that kind of all the cogs work together, then it's just background work. Then you don't have to do much else. So
that's amazing, because you know you can rely that the product is good quality, and that once for I guess the initial period of raising the commission rate with the affiliates, maybe that's going to cost you a little bit more money up front, but down the line, once
the volume, you get the volume, it'll even out your margins. So
amazing. Wow, guys, listen to that. That's some real advice. So when you're working with influencers and affiliates, and you're kind of scoping them out for potential collaboration, are you also looking at what their audience base is like?
Definitely. If we reach out to an influencer as a brand, we're not just reaching out to them because we've seen one viral video. We're reaching out to them because we've been watching them for quite a while before we've actually made that initial message, because we just need to see what kind of influencer they are, and how they interact with their audience, like what feedback are they getting from their audience, because it's very easy to just quickly look at the numbers and look at all these likes but not actually delve into the information. If we pick up the wrong influencer and they start promoting our products, then we're at risk of like getting an influx of people messaging us saying, why are you working with them? Like they're XYZ. So if we reach out to an influencer, it's because we've done the background work behind them and we're pretty confident that they're a good fit for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to do your homework, don't you? Let's see, where are we? What is your take on, because obviously there's been a lot of disruption in the traditional beauty retail space. What would you say TikTok Shop's impact has been on that?
I think we're an anomaly. Because we don't just rely on TikTok Shop. We have a lot of other revenue streams. So we're in pharmacies, like I spoke about before. We have our own mega stores around the UK and Ireland, and we also have our own website as well. And they're all really strong revenue streams. It's funny because whenever I talked about this at the start, but whenever TikTok Shop first came about, we were afraid and worried that it would take away from our other revenue streams that we relied on so heavily for years. But it actually had the complete opposite effect. We were able to open our own mega stores. So it's kind of, it's funny because when you say to people, I work for BPerfect, they're like, oh, I seen that on TikTok.
Yeah.
And we get feedback from our, if a product goes viral on TikTok, we see the real effects that it has on our megastore sales, our website sales, and even our pharmacy sales as well, those go up. The sales go up of that product. So I would say TikTok Shop has a very positive effect on our other revenue streams rather than negative, which is not what we thought it would be at the beginning.
To wrap up this segment, what advice would you give to beauty founders considering TikTok Shop but not sure where to start?
I would say dive headfirst. Just go for it. If you have the means and your margins work out to be on TikTok Shop, do it, because the potential that your brand has on there is insane. It is, in my opinion, the best platform for virality. You know, you could post one video that could take off and completely change your business. I've seen it happen to local businesses online where they have completely blew up. There's some case studies out there as well where there's been brands that are on the brink of completely closing down, and then they took the risk and went on TikTok Shop, and now they have built their business back up again because of it. So if you're in a position like that, definitely take the risk. Another piece of advice I would give is just be careful with your margins as well. It's very easy to get sucked into the excitement and hype of TikTok Shop. If a product's doing well or you want a product to do well, you drop it really low to like 60p, but you're not actually making money. In fact, you could be losing money on it as well. So just make sure that your margins are tight and you're happy with those. But I think just do it.
Yeah. Jump in. Absolutely. And then would you say that TikTok Shop has changed the way BPerfect approaches product development?
Definitely. 100%. A lot of we often ask for feedback on products, or we ask I think the key with getting products right is just asking your consumers what they want. They want you to ask them these questions because they want to feel involved in the process. So we do a lot of that across TikTok, where we're constantly asking for feedback. We're constantly asking, like, what do you want to see from us? So it definitely changes the way we do things. I would say the things that do well on TikTok Shop are results driven as well. So I think that kind of guides us with what we develop, because we want people to see instant results for it to be able to sell well online. So it definitely does 100% affect how we do our product development.
Fabulous. Yeah, you get that immediate feedback from the customer on TikTok Shop, which can be such a tool.
So a good example of this was our bronzer, our cream bronzer, in its old packaging had the logo embossed on the front of it, but it was the same color as the lid. So when you actually showed it to the camera, you couldn't see the name of it. So our feedback to the MBD team was like, we need to change that, because when our influencers are showing the packaging to the camera, they can't actually read the product name.
Right.
So that's an example of how it's influenced our MBD.
That direct feedback helps you rationalize the product. That's very cool. And then what kind of strategy do you guys have with regarding live selling?
We live sell every day.
Wow.
Yeah, every single day. Whenever it first kind of came about, we jumped on it straight away, because we knew that by jumping on TikTok Shop straight away, it really worked out for us. So we knew this was going to turn into something massive, and it obviously did. So we're at the stage now where we have 2 people employed that their job is to work on TikTok lives.
Wow.
We have an array of different kinds of hosts as well on our roster that we schedule in, so to make sure we always have 2 hosts on. So we literally do TikTok lives every single day. It's at least 4 hours a day, and at the weekends we go up to 6. But if the revenue is good on those lives, our hosts are like encouraged to stay on, and we do incentivize them as well, so they would want to stay on and make more money. We talked about how TikTok Shop's affected our new product development as well. So has live selling. So we're always factoring in, whenever we're looking at our RRPs, for example, for products, we factor in, okay, what will our flash price be on lives?
Right.
What will our promo price be on TikTok Shop? So yeah, TikTok Live is a huge chunk of our business, and something that we even now want to ramp up again. We've actually we built a whole live area, like a whole live studio specifically for TikTok
Nice.
lives in our
Nice.
warehouse back home, and we're expanding that again because
Again.
now we have TikTok Shop Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
We're launching TikTok Shop USA,
Mm-hmm.
and we also do like other live salons as well. So we're gonna have like 6 different live areas,
Wow.
which is gonna be insane. So yeah, it's really exciting.
That is exciting. Well, we look forward to that. And then in our next segment here, we asked our listeners to send in their questions for BPerfect, and we've got some fantastic ones lined up. So let's hear what our community wants to know. James asked, how do you choose which influencers to work with?
Oh, I think it depends because it's not just the big influencers that we go with, it's like micro influencers as well. I think for us, it's all about engagement and their community, who's watching them, or people engaging with their content. So it's not about having big numbers, it's just about how they connect with their audience, because we always say that we want our influencers to be as authentic as possible. We don't give them huge scripts. We obviously prompt them for the content we want to see from them, but we don't tell them exactly what they need to do. We want it to be as organic to them as possible. So when we look for influencers, we just look for people that have an audience that they connect with, and people connect with them.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You kind of want to hand the product over to them and let them
do their thing.
Yeah.
So
that.
Being trustworthy is a huge thing that we look for.
Absolutely. Joel asked, what's your all-time favorite BPerfect product and why?
I have so many. I think it just changes as like the new ones come out because they just get better and better. I think, do I have to pick one?
You could give us a couple. Give us 3.
Okay, I'll give you a couple.
Yeah.
The Tan Studio Tannin Oil is 10 out of 10. The Tan Studio Tannin Oil is 10 out of 10. Brow Fiber Mascara, I love it. And another one would be the Cream Bronzer.
Stunning.
10 out of 10.
Nicholas asked, how do you handle negative feedback or customer reviews online?
I think with every bit of feedback we get from customers, we definitely take it on board and take it into consideration. They wouldn't be leaving that feedback if they didn't have something that they needed to say. Like, for example, we had negative feedback at the beginning whenever we launched our coma cover foundation because the pumps weren't working for some people. So we've actually made steps to fix that pump. So it's definitely important to listen to the feedback, positive and negative, because it could really help your business and any decisions that you make going forward.
Absolutely. And it is so paramount being primarily online to keep on top of all of those reviews because they're make or break.
Yeah, I mean, you make the products for your customers, so you have to listen to what they're saying about the product.
Absolutely. And then Patricia has asked, what's one thing about running a beauty brand that people totally misunderstand?
I think for us especially, we look like a very fun and exciting place to work. And don't get me wrong, we are, definitely. But I think people think that it's all fun and games, that there's no really, like I often get from my mum and dad or my family, like, you call this work? There's definitely is perks, but there is 100% a lot of hard work and graft that goes on behind the scenes. It can be very intense, especially during peak times, like we have the summer sale coming up.
Yeah.
Black Friday is, we can't even talk about Black Friday yet. But
traumatic.
Yeah, traumatic. So I think that's a huge misconception that people think about us specifically, and probably a lot of other beauty brands as well, because there is a lot of hard and long hours that goes into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it takes real grift to make sure it's all keeps moving. And then finally, Jennifer asked, can we expect any new collaborations or surprise launches soon?
Definitely. We actually have a huge launch coming up at the end of this month. So we split our launches into like platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and this is a platinum launch that's coming up at the end of June, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait for that. We also recently launched our skincare range, so we're expanding that throughout the year. Any big collaborations? Yes, we do actually have a huge collaboration coming up with a celebrity makeup artist as well this year, which is really exciting. I'm not going to reveal too much yet because that's a bit off, but loads to come up.
We can't wait. We're on the edge of our seat. And another question I have for you is, how does TikTok change the approach to building BPerfect's community?
We love our TikTok community. I think the biggest thing that's changed how we build it online is our TikTok lives. We have the same people that come on and watch and buy on our TikTok lives every night. It's a great way to connect directly with your audience and build that kind of relationship. So our hosts know customers by first name.
Yeah.
They know their favorite products now. So it's a really cool way to connect with your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. It keeps that authenticity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this has truly been actually a very inspiring story. Both yourself and the brand is very impressive. So as we wrap up here, I have a few last questions that sort of look more into the future of the brand. So what would you say is next for BPerfect in 2025 and beyond?
I would say more meg stores. You'll probably see us a lot more on the streets.
Cool.
Which will be exciting. I'm just continuing the TikTok shop madness.
Stunning. Yeah. Growing. Are there any new markets, platforms, or products you guys are planning to explore?
Back in the day, we had a huge tanning range. Now we're in the process of rebranding that tanning range. You can see that on our TikTok shop at the minute with our brand new tan studio, which is exclusive to TikTok shop.
Ooh.
So I'm so excited for that because the products are next level.
Oh, amazing. Okay, cool, guys. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. What would you say is the brand's dream collaboration you'd love to see happen?
Oh,
Ooh.
I think, maybe I'm biased, I've always said Molly May. I just love Molly May. Nikki Tutorials, she is amazing.
She's cool, yeah.
And Taylor Swift, obviously.
Oh, stunning.
But that's all just from me. I
Okay.
can't speak for the brand.
That's very cool. Listen to that, Molly May. Pick up the phone. Don't worry, it's not Tommy Fury. Finally, what message would you like to leave with the beauty entrepreneurs that are listening today?
Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Post that first video and see how it goes.
Absolutely. Just get your feet wet.
Yep. Just dip them in.
Stunning. Well, thank you so much. This has been
Very much.
a great little chat. I've had the time of my life.
Me too. I don't want to leave.
Well, that's a wrap on this week's episode of Beyond the Hashtag. BPerfect, as many of you know, is the sister brand of Voodoo, who we've also had the pleasure of featuring on this podcast. And just like its sibling, BPerfect brings its own bold personality and powerhouse strategy to the table. One of the biggest takeaways from today's episode is how BPerfect has mastered the art of influencer marketing. Even before TikTok became the force it is today, BPerfect was already betting big on collaborations. And it paid off. Influencers have been a major driver for their GMV, helping them scale rapidly while staying relevant and aspirational. Another key insight, the brand's laser focus on customer feedback, a value it shares with Voodoo. Whether it's adjusting packaging based on embossing issues or shaping new product lines, BPerfect listens closely. And TikTok Shop has been a game changer here. Through live selling, which they do every single day, they're not only boosting sales, but also building real-time connections with their community. That community-first mindset is at the heart of everything they do, from product development to influencer collabs. BPerfect doesn't just sell products, they create experiences powered by people, passion, and constant feedback. Thanks for tuning in, and if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and check out our past episode with Voodoo for more behind the brand brilliance.